This is Evelyn Jerome Alexander with Magellan College Counseling, and I'm here today talking to my colleague Debbie Liebert. Debbie was actually the first person to join me, so she has been working with Magellan for 7 years, maybe more. I think we stopped counting. And for people who are regulars to videos that I create, you will recognize a noise in the background, which is Chloe snoring. So hopefully you will be able to see, there it is. Hopefully she won't get super loud while we talk. But I wanted Debbie to come talk to us a little bit about why she decided to be a college counselor. And I think you'll be interested in the stories that she has to tell. So Debbie, why don't you give us a little bit on how you got where you are?
I got where I am because I have 3 daughters who I took through this process. And they're very different personalities, very different girls. The first 2 were pretty smooth and they followed a traditional road. It was the 3rd one that sort of threw me for a loop. She wanted to go to art school, and I was convinced that art school wasn't really school. And my husband and I said no, she needed to sort of fit into that same mold that the other 2 fit into and go to a traditional 4-year university. So she started out at a 4-year university and she made it through the first year. It was okay. It wasn't great. They didn't have a major for her that was interesting. So first semester of her 2nd year, she transferred to another 4-year university, and that had a major that was interesting to her, but it was just a disaster. She just was not academically oriented, and she just wasn't interested, and all the way around, it just wasn't a good situation. So after completing her first semester of her 2nd year, she came home and spent a semester applying to art school. And then she ultimately did go to art school, and she thrived and had an amazing experience. She did very, very well, and it was a success. So my takeaway from that was that you can't put a round kid into a square hole. Like, every kid has something to bring to the table. And within reason, I think we really do need to listen to our kids and look at who they are and not who we want them to be. I just thought that was a really important lesson, and I thought that was something that I could bring to the world of college counseling.
So the lesson is great. Every child is different. Even children who grow up with the same parents in the same stable household are different from each other. I love it when, and you've worked with twins before, right? Mm-hmm. Twins can be, are totally different human beings with different desires, aspirations,
outcomes, and they're all great. I mean, that the point is that I have twins right now. One's at a junior college, one's going to UCLA. I mean, they're completely different kids. They're both great kids. There's that, I think, is what we need to keep in mind, is that there is a big picture, and everybody has their own journey and their own potential.
And part of the lesson for us as the adults walking the students through this is to empower the teenagers to not be 100% in control, but feel like they have, their voice is being heard in this journey.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's where we come in. Like, we sort of can be the mediator between the parents, that sort of enlighten them to what I missed out on, to my, while supporting the kid and sort of being their advocate with the parents as well.
Right. Yeah. What's your favorite part of what we do, of working with students?
Oh my gosh. It's so hard. I think my favorite part is really the relationships that I form with the kids, and following up with them afterwards and staying in touch and watching them thrive, or, if maybe they want to make some sort of a change in a major or whatever it is, to be here to bounce things back and forth with them. So the relationships are really so rewarding. And it's interesting to see when you start with a student in 10th grade or the beginning of 11th grade, it's very, the relationship is like you're walking on eggshells, and then by the end it's like, you could hang out and talk to these kids, and I do, and go to coffee, and it's really rewarding. The actual process, I think I really like creating a list. I think that's a fun challenge, and because every kid is looking for something different, and some kids are more challenging than others, and that keeps it interesting.
What expertise do you rely on when you're building a list?
I mean, we have resources, obviously, that we use. There's different tools that we use in Magellan to help sort of identify what's interesting to the student academically, major-wise. And so I rely on those tools from an academic standpoint. And then we have the other resources that we use to look at what kind of a community they're going to thrive in. So, I mean, I really use the tools that are available to us in the industry.
You spend a lot of time though visiting colleges, meeting
Yes.
college reps, even when they're not on their turf, but when they come to visit us or
Absolutely, and forming those
it's online.
relationships. Yeah, yes, absolutely. Now we do it all online, but definitely we sit in on lots of webinars and I mean and call the reps if we have a question about a specific situation. I mean, we pick up the phone and call them.
Yep, that's actually something that I think surprises some people. Is students are kind of they're hesitant to pick up the phone and call an admission office because they think, oh my God, they're going to write it down. They're going to keep track of this. We're not afraid to make those calls. We meet these people and talk to them regularly.
Right. Exactly.
If you had, one or two pieces of advice for parents, maybe parent of a 9th or 10th grader who just not quite getting started, what advice would you give them?
I would say, I mean, I'm a little different, I think, and I think that's what makes Magellan, let me just backtrack, so unique. I think we all have our own perspective that we bring to the table, and Evelyn does a great job of matching us up with the right students. I'm not big on having a student who is not able or who is high stress take every single AP, get involved to a point that they're not comfortable or they're stressing. So my advice would be pay attention to your student, pay attention to your child, make sure that they're balanced. I'd rather have a mentally healthy child than one that has 14 APs and they're stressed out to the max. I think it's important to bring balance. So I would say everything in moderation is great. So that would be one piece of advice, would just to, look at the big picture, support them in those things that they choose to do and those things they are passionate about. And they should not do things because it's going to look good on a resume. Let them find a passion and let them explore and delve into that passion. So I think those would probably be good too.
Yeah. No, that's really good advice. And I would just add to that, don't frantically search for that passion. It will come.
Exactly.
It will come in time. And 9th graders don't have passion. It's not there yet. And that's okay.
And the other piece is that one passion is not better than another passion. You can be an amazing baker, and you don't have to find the cure to coronavirus.
Yeah. So if you could, that'd be great. But
yeah, if you do, that'd be amazing.
But cookies are good too.
Cookies are good too. Yeah, one is not better than another. A lot of times the kids will say, well, should I be like student body president or should I be a cheerleader? It doesn't really matter, as long as you're happy with what you've chosen and what you're doing.
Yep. Awesome. All right. Great advice. I just wanted to chat with you for a couple minutes. I love that. I think you approach this first, having gone through it with your own children. And I think you have a compassion, both for students and for parents, that comes through. And every single one of your clients feels that coming from you. But at the same time, you have the expertise of a professional. So you're kind of like the full package. So I'm thrilled that you've been with me for so long, and thank you for taking the time to chat with me today.
My pleasure.